Hey everybody, Darlene here at Petal Academy. I'm going to do a quick video on how to freshen up your planters for spring. So this is basically our winter to spring transition. Finally, we have some nice weather to do it. I took my winter greens out about 3 weeks ago, and I wanted to plant these up earlier, but we've had such horrible weather. It was just a little too risky. So all I'm doing today is I'm going to plant up some of our bulbs. I've actually moved these from a location we're putting in a new garage this year, and they're right where our new garage is going. So I've just dug them up, and you can see I've left a little bit of that root ball on there, but you don't need a lot of soil with them. I'm using a few leftovers from a couple of workshops that I had, so just a little ivy, which hopefully will stay in there all summer. And then I've got a little white hyacinth that I picked up as well. Thanks, Rob. This one here, which is great. And we're gonna post this so that you guys can enjoy this on Sunday morning, but hopefully this will give you some ideas on how to do your transition into spring pots. Thought it would be fun. Happy Easter, everyone. Thanks so much for watching, and many blessings to you all, and we'll see you soon. So I've just begun to plant my bulbs into the planter. I'm digging some holes, I'm loosening up the soil below, and you want to just kind of tickle the roots just a little bit and get them into the new soil. Now these are something that I'm going to be transplanting back into another spot in my garden, probably within the next month or so. By the end of May, these are probably going to be back in the ground. So it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be nice and stable. And I'm adding a little bit more soil in here because we really want to get these nicely potted and make sure that those roots will go into that soil. It's always really nice when that happens. So I'm just kind of tampering them down as I go and lifting this up. I want these bulbs to sit just at the top layer of my planter. So I want them to have some nice height, because overall they're not a large, they're not a tall flower. So I want to make sure that they've got enough soil under them so that they are going to kind of emerge up out of that root wreath really nicely. So now I'm just going to take this ivy basket apart, and I'm going to show you why we use ivy baskets, because they're fantastic. Okay, so one of my favorite tips if you're doing planters is to use hanging baskets and cut them up, chop them up. How I do that is, so this was an ivy plant. This will grow really long and beautiful over the summer. We are facing south here, but we get a little bit of a break in the afternoon. So it's usually pretty good once it starts to harden up over the summer. But I just lift out the plant from its pot, is all I do. Usually I'll have a little drainage plug there at the bottom. You can see it's got like super heavy roots, but all I do is I just take my trowel and kind of, or a serrated knife is usually what I have with me, but I don't have that right now. So I'm just taking my trowel and I'm just gonna cut into this and get a little piece of this out. And it doesn't matter, it looks like I'm being really brutal with these roots, but you just need a little tiny bit of a root base, and you can pop that into your planter and it'll continue to get nice and long and beautiful for you over the summer. So it's a great way to get mileage for your planters. So I'm just going ahead there. I'm adding those ivy in there. I'm adding a little bit more soil as we go. I like to add the ivy to the front of the planter, and I'm tucking it through the grapevine wreath that I made out of just our local grapevine, just so it looks a little bit more like a nest. You can see me sort of tapping it down as I go, and I did speed up this video, so I'm really not moving that fast. But the next thing I'm going to do is just break up a few more of these daffodils and get them planted in here. You want to make sure they're nice and compact in there. Another variety of daffodils I'm adding is this beautiful double cream, which is a scented one, so very similar to our narcissus, and it's gorgeous. I love to mix up the colors just a little bit, so I'm using a lot of the whites and creams. I'm also adding mini hyacinths, grape hyacinths, or muscari, that's what they're known as, in a white color, which is kind of rare. It's a little pretty little additive there over on the side. And my last little addition is our white standard hyacinths that I'm adding in here. I like to group my materials when I'm creating a planter, so it does really look like a natural garden. I really find that that's effective, so I'm just grouping them together and ensuring that I'm adding soil as I go. We really want this to be nice and compact and everything to be well planted. One of the things you want to watch for, and you're going to see me do it here, is adding that soil. You're going to see that little white granular that's in there. That's actually perlite. So when you're doing something in a potting instance in a planter, it's really imperative that you use potting soil, not topsoil. Potting soil has those aerations in it. It's usually vermiculite or perlite, and that is aerating your soil so that water can move through it. Whenever you use topsoil, it's just too heavy and it becomes really, really hard for the water to drain through. And oftentimes roots can rot a lot quicker. So make sure you're using a proper potting soil when you're doing something in a planter. It's really, really important. So I'm just tapping down those last few things, making some final adjustments here. It's coming along really nicely overall. I'm pretty happy with it. And I'm just moving through with my wreath. The last little thing that we're going to add in here is some pussy willow. This is a great way to add some height and add some support. So oftentimes I find, especially with daffodils or bulbs or tulips, they can get a little bit lanky and long when they grow. So adding some pussy willow or branch material is a great way to give these guys some support as they grow a little bit taller in your planter. And this overall will last probably a month or two. I always find bulbs are great outside for the spring months because it's cooler. So they do really, really well for, probably about a month or so, maybe 2 months, depending on how much sun and heat we get. As soon as it gets hot, these guys are going to start to go brown, and then I'm going to save those bulbs and plant them back into the garden. My last branch I'm adding in there is some curly willow. Here's my cleanup. It's starting to come together now. And this was another quick little planter I whipped up just for our front table that I've got. And then here is the completed look with my bulbs. You can see them there. I also tucked in a couple of cute little mushrooms. I'm really happy with the look, and it's definitely spring at our place. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Happy Easter and live life in full bloom.